Today we are going to be discussing Lesson 1, Rates. Our essential question, how can you show that two objects are proportional? Vocabulary is rate and unit rate, and our Common Core state standards are located on to the right. Let's begin with the real world link. Pulse rate. You would take a person's pulse by placing your middle and index finger up on the underside of the wrist. You would choose a partner and take their pulse for 2 minutes. However, this is what you're going to do instead. You're going to take your own pulse for 2 minutes. Step 1, record the results in the diagram below. So make sure that you go ahead and take your pulse for the next 2 minutes. For myself, I had 160 beats in 2 minutes. Step number 2, use the results from exercise 1 to complete the bar diagram and determine the number of beats per minute for your partner. Should say for you. Beats in 2 minutes, well, I had 160. Right below, for this bar diagram, it's split in half. So the number of beats in 1 minute and the number of beats in the second minute. So if you take a look from this distance to this distance, it shows the entire 2-minute period. I have 160 beats. Well, what I can't do is split that in half. In 1 minute, I have 80 beats. In the second minute, I have 80 beats. So your heartbeats 80 times per minute, or at least for my heartbeats 80 times per minute. For step number 3, use the results from exercise 1 to determine the number of beats for half a minute for your partner. Well, if I know that 2 minutes is 160 beats, and I use my information from the second exercise that 1 minute is 80 beats, half a minute should be half of 1 minute. If it is 80 beats per 1 minute, then to get half a minute, I should just take half of 80, which is 40. So that means that I have 40 beats per minute. Ooh, let me rewrite that. I'm going to put MIN. All right, so now you're going to choose which mathematical practice you use and shade it inside your book. So let's continue. Find a unit rate. A ratio that compares two quantities with different kinds of units is called a rate. So you can see that the word rate is highlighted. At the beginning, I said we had two vocabulary words, the word rate and unit rate. So I'm going to highlight this first sentence. A ratio that compares two quantities with different kinds of units is called a rate. So when you found each other's pulse, you were actually finding the heart rate. So how many beats you have per minute or half a minute, or in this case, 2 minutes. So for myself, I had 160 beats per 2 minutes. The units, beats and minutes are different, so that's the reason why it's a type of rate. Next, when a rate is simplified so that it has a denominator of 1 unit, it is called a unit rate. So I'm going to highlight that. So here are our two vocabulary words. This is our second one. Unit rate is when a rate is simplified so that it has a denominator of 1 and is called a unit rate. Trying to erase this little highlighter. Okay. All right, continuing. So we now have 80 beats per 1 minute because the denominator has 1 minute, it's just 1 unit. So the table below shows some common unit rates. So the rate, number of miles per hour, the unit rate is miles per hour, the abbreviation is miles per hour or MPH, and the name is the average speed. Then the second row, the number of miles per gallon, this is also written as miles per gallon for the unit rate. Abbreviation is miles per gallon or MPG, that's referring to gas mileage. And last row, number of dollars per pound, that's the price per pound, dollars per pound, which is a unit price. All right, let's start with example number 1. Adrienne biked 24 miles in 4 hours. If she biked at a constant speed, how many miles did she ride in 1 hour? So if we have 24 miles in 4 hours, over here on the right side in blue, they give you different directions. The first step is to write the rate as a fraction. So I'm going to put a little 1 next to it. So when you have the rate as a fraction, that's going to be 24 miles per 4 hours. Second step is to divide the numerator and the denominator by 4. That's to give us a unit rate in the denominator, because we have a 4 down there. So 24 miles divided by 4 is simplified to 6 miles. 4 hours divided by 4 is reduced down to 1 hour. So simplify is your third step. So Adrian bikes 6 miles in 1 hour. Got it? We're going to do these problems to find out. But first, we need to stop and reflect up on the left side. We're going to circle the unit rate below that represents 18 cans for $6. So I'm going to do my step number 1 and write my rate as a fraction. So it's 18 cans, per $6. So to get the unit rate, I need to get my denominator, to equal 6. I'm sorry, I need to get my denominator of 6 to equal 1. So I'm going to divide with the numerator and denominator by 6. Sorry about the screen change. My dog jumped up on the bed. So divide the denominator and numerator both by 6. That leaves my numerator with 3 cans and my denominator with $1. So that's saying that $3 per, I'm sorry, that says 3 cans per dollar. Okay, so now let's check if you got it. We're going to find each unit rate and round to the nearest hundredth if necessary. So I'm actually going to show my work off to the side, either to the right, otherwise you can always also show your work up here to the left. So for letter A, $300 for 6 hours. So step 1 is to write the unit as a fraction. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. $300 per 6 hours. I want my denominator to be 1, so I'm going to divide the denominator and numerator both by 6. I'm left with 1 hour in the denominator. 300 divided by 6 gives me 50. So that leaves me with $50 per 1 hour. So I'm going to write that over here for letter A, $50 per hour. And you can write that like I did for letter A on the left side. For letter B, 220 miles on 8 gallons. So I'm going to show my work over on the right. Here's letter B. 220 miles, MI for miles, divided by 8 gallons. I'm going to abbreviate it GAL. So I want to have a unit rate, so I divide my numerator and denominator by 8. So that leaves me with 1 gallon in the denominator. Well, 220 divided by 8. 8 cannot go into 2. 8 goes into 22. Then 2 times. Sorry, I gotta move that up a little bit. 8 goes into 60. Sorry. So that's going to be 27.5. So this gives us 27.5 miles per gallon. Okay. All right. So example number 2. Find the unit price if it costs $2 for 8 juice boxes. $2 for 8 juice boxes. I'm sorry, for 8 boxes equals $2 divided by 8 boxes. So step number 1, just like before, is to write the rate as a fraction. Step number 2 is to divide the numerator and denominator by 8. And the reason for that is, and I actually have it highlighted right here with the 8. Oop, I had it highlighted. There we go. So I have it highlighted with the right there. In order to have a unit rate, the denominator must be a 1. My apologies. Okay, let's go back to this. So then when you take $2 divided by 8, that gives you 25 cents. 8 divided by 8 is 1 box. So this means you have 25 cents per 1 box. The unit price is 25 cents per juice box. Got it? So we're going to do this problem to find out. For letter C, we're going to find the unit price if a 4-pack of mixed juice sells for $2.12. So I'm going to show my work off to the right. Step 1 is to go ahead and write it as a fraction. I'm going to take $2.12 and divide it by a 4-pack. So I want to get my denominator to be equal 1. So divide both numerator and denominator by 4. And that leaves me with a denominator of 1 pack. $2.12 divided by 4. I'm going to do this work here. 212 divided by 4. 4 goes into 2 0 times. Subtract 0. Well, I got to bring this decimal up. Then I bring down the 1. Oops. 2 minus 0. I bet some of you are like, nope, she did that wrong. That's correct. That should be a 2. 4 goes into 21 5 times. So I subtract 20. Leave left over with a 1. Bring down the 2. 4 goes into 12 3 times. Subtract 12. You have 0. That means that you have 53. So I'm going to put that in my numerator. That's 53 cents per 1 pack. So then I'm going to go ahead and put my answer. 53 cents per pack. Let's move on to example 3. The prices of 3 different bags of dog food are given in the table. Which size bag has the lowest price per pound rounded to the nearest cent? So you would take the information and read it across. A 40-pound bag costs $49, 20-pound bag costs $23.44, and we have an 8-pound bag is $9.88. So 40-pound bag, you take $49 divided by 40 pounds, that's about $1.23 per pound. Then you take the 20-pound bag, which is $23.44 divided by 20 pounds, that's about $1.17 per bag. And then you have an 8-pound bag. $9.88 divided by 8 pounds is about $1.24 per pound. The 20-pound bag sells for the lowest price per pound. So there's an alternate method too. One 40-pound bag is equivalent to 2 20-pound bags, or 5 8-pound bags. The cost for one 40-pound bag is $49. The cost for 2 20-pound bags is about $46, and the cost for 5 8-pound bags is about $50. So the 20-pound bag has the lowest price per pound. So where I got all that information is off to the right where it says alternate method. So there's more than one way to look at this. So, got this? Let's do this problem to find out. Letter D. Tito wants to buy some peanut butter to donate to the local food pantry. Tito wants to buy as much peanut butter as possible. Which brand should he buy? So here are the peanut butter sales. Here are the brands and the sale price. We have the Nutty, the Grams, Bees, and the Save a Lot. So we're going to find how much each of them are per ounce to figure out which one's the best price. So if I take, oops, let me change into a pen. I'm going to put an N for Nutty. I'm going to take $2.19 and divide it by 12. So $2.19 divided by 12 is this is about 18 cents per ounce. Then I'm going to go with grandma's. That's going to be 279 divided by 18. This one, and you know what? This needs to have the about sign, not equal to, because I'm rounding the nearest penny. This is about 16 cents per ounce. All right, then I'm going to go ahead and do B's. That is 469 for 28. This is about 17. Ooh, not $17. Keep erasing my zero. 17 cents per ounce. And then lastly, I have Save-A-Lot. That is $6.60 for 40 ounces. So 1 ounce is approximately 17 cents per ounce. So when I break it down like this, the cheapest one is going to be Grandma's. And that one is because it's at 16 cents per ounce. So if Tito wants to buy the most, he should buy Grandma's. Let's continue. Example 4. Lexi painted 2 faces in 8 minutes at the crafts fair. At this rate, how many faces can she paint in 40 minutes? So there are 2 methods to solving this. The first method is to draw a bar diagram. So in this 8-minute period, time to paint one face is 4 minutes. So here's the total 8 minutes. In order to paint one face, it takes 4 minutes, and the second face takes another 4 minutes. So if it takes 4 minutes to paint one face in 40 minutes, Lexi can paint 40 divided by 4, or 10 faces. Method number 2 is to find a unit rate. So 2 faces in 8 minutes. 2 faces in 8 minutes, there's our fraction. We want a unit rate, so we divide both numerator and denominator by 8 to get 1 minute. Then that's 1/4 of a face per minute. Well, they want to have the entire face. So then we're going to take that 1 minute and we're going to multiply it by a rate of 40 minutes. So 0.25 face divided by 1 minute times 40 minutes. If you notice here, they're crossing out our minutes because we have 1 in the denominator and 1 in the numerator. So 0.25 or 25 hundredths times 40 equals 10, so 10 faces. So this time we divided out the common units, which was minutes. Using either method, Lexi can paint 10 faces in 40 minutes. So now you guys are going to go ahead and do some practice.